Oh, my neck hurts, everybody. I fucked it up! Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Yet again, thanks for joining me. We are back with the Spooky Season Movie Marathon. We're on day 18. And today we have watched the brand new installment of the VHS franchise, VHS 94.
Do I just press the button?
Press the red button.
Just press it.
I assume they're paying extra for this.
Yes.
This is a remarkable story.
Hello?
Now, truth be told, I had never, ever seen a VHS movie before. I was never interested, truth be told. And this one was out on Shudder, and I said, fuck it, let's go for it. Let's give it a try.
Hello?
Let's get right to it. We open with a SWAT team. And immediately, red flags start going off. Here we go. Uh-oh. It feels cheap. It feels amateurish. And this is just in the intro where we're literally meeting the characters. Within minutes, you can feel this already. Like the overlays are kind of cheap for the VHS static. Like my VHS static overlays. So you're a little worried. You go, uh-oh, please, dear God, tell me this is not going to be the quality of the whole thing. Because lapses in judgment and common sense start to pop up in your brain. Like, for instance, my big pet peeve about found footage horror movies, which this whole franchise is based upon. Unrealistic camera work. Why would someone be filming? Why are there so many cameras? Where is that camera? No. It always makes it look fake, makes it look like a movie, and it ruins it. And right away, why? Why would anyone in 1994 ever videotape a SWAT team raid?
First drug raid, Gary?
Yeah.
Why? It's before body cams, so you're gonna have a whole person just carrying a camera while they're trying to raid a warehouse where people are reported to have been murdered. So again, it doesn't make any sense.
Get another attack unit on standby.
This is a crime scene. Do not touch anything.
And then you realize, oh, thank God, this whole thing is just the connective tissue to all of our stories for this anthology. Whew. Our first story starts, it's called Storm Drain, and it's directed by Chloe Okuno. And at this point, I've never really heard of her before. But I'll just say this right off the bat, because it sounds like this is not a very good movie so far. And so far, it's not. This story, within 3 minutes, maybe even less, starts to redeem this movie completely. You have a wonderful setup of a brash, confident, cocky news woman. She's looking for that great story. Here. And our other character is her cameraman. So, there it is. Simple as day. You have a setup, a job title, and a motivation to always have the camera running as much as possible. Your brain never questions why he's holding the camera still. Ah. First check mark. Nice. Then the cast starts to flourish with their characters. And even though they're not the most lovable people, you're in their corner. You're like, yes, these are entertaining people just to watch. The dialogue's great.
You want to get a drink afterwards?
Jeff?
Yeah?
Fuck you.
Copy that.
The beats that they have together, their character dynamic, it's great. And then things start to go south as she investigates this storm drain, a mythical, Bigfootish type creature that she is here in this town investigating, suddenly makes its presence known.
I'm Holly Marciano, Channel 6 News.
Needless to say, it is breathless, intense, crazy, effective found footage horror. I was on pins and needles. This thing is like a perfect example of the subgenre. In a small dose, it nails the aesthetic. I don't even know what kind of camera they used, but it feels like an old 90s camera. As they investigate this sewer drain and go further and further into the bowels, it just gets scarier and scarier and scarier. And what helps the story even more than everything I've already mentioned is the fact that the setting is one long hallway with just shadow, a void. And so anytime this POV camera, you feel like you're staring down an endless cement hallway where just on the fringes of the shadows could be anything. And so even though she's just doing a story, you're like looking over her shoulder. You can't help but dart your eyes around, but there's only one point of perspective.
What are you doing?
No, there's someone there.
Which again helps with the POV aesthetic. When this thing really goes off, there's a chase, and the camera is pointing to the ground the entire time. It's messy. And you're like, this is the most intense chase scene ever. Oh my God, what happens when the camera comes up? Because you know, it's his only light source too. And so the camera always has to stay on, yet again, covering their bases of common sense. It is a hell of a creature feature. And then it goes from this well-crafted, well-executed, incredible, thrilling creature feature to straight up B-movie schlock in the last 2 minutes, and it is the most enjoyable, fun, amazing ending to such a harrowing, realistic horror story. It's perfect.
I'm Holly Marciano, Channel 6 News. Hail Ratmaa.
These two tones smash into each other, and you can't help but love it even more. It's wonderful. It completely redeems the beginning of this movie, and you cannot wait for the next story. And the next story is arguably even better. It's called The Empty Wake, and it is directed and written by Simon Barrett. And we love Simon Barrett here. He wrote The Guest. He wrote You're Next. He is a super talented writer, creative. And to be honest, this was the first time I'd ever seen anything he's directed. I wasn't worried. And you know who showed up to play? Mr. Simon Barrett. Whew! This just makes the movie even better. You have wonderful lead character who, again, has the right emotional state. She has the right job. She has the right situation to constantly have static cameras watching her as she experiences this classically horror night. I'm talking classic horror, like it was a dark and stormy night. And I love any Halloween horror stories that go there, that say, fuck it, we're doing the classic dark and stormy night. It's like the fairy tale Once Upon a Time. You hear that rain as these static cameras watch her. And again, this movie covers the bases of common sense. It's explained all in the setup between these characters. This young lady, our lead, has her first gig at a funeral home. She is presiding over a service for the first time. It's always covered, it always makes sense, and so you never question it. You never go, why? You only go, oh God, as you're ready for the next beat of this perfectly paced horror story. The casting is great. Everybody's wonderful. They do their jobs magnificently. The script, along with the production design and art direction and sound design, it's all really doing a great job of setting the mood of this young girl's first night. The script does the best job of all. Surprise, surprise. We have a writer helming this thing, and by God, if the backstory, exposition, and character development isn't wonderful and engaging, I don't know what is. This one works on all levels. It is like a wonderful, poish short story. The scares in this one, just like the first, are nail-biting. You are on the ride and it's taken you. And you're just like, oh my God.
The concrete steps right as families are beginning to show for some.
It's really a satisfying ending with a perfect build of every aspect of filmmaking. So I can't wait to check out Simon Barrett's other work. I know he has a new movie out at the moment. And if this is any indication of his gifts, then keep making it, man. It is a 1-2 punch of this anthology that you cannot beat. They both have that realistic quality that you go, oh God, I can't stop watching, but I should. And every time an angle changes to another static camera, you're like, oh God, when is it going to go down? And so they're perfect examples. They're like case studies in this subgenre of how to do it, how to really effectively sell found footage horror. Primo. Then we get to our third story. And I can't remember the title of this one because, well, here's where the dip in the movie happens.
1 Agustus 1994, keberhasilan agaknya sudah di depan mata.
It's a story about a mad doctor who wants to make robot people. And you don't really know who the main character is because halfway through, it turns. You have this setup of this disturbing, creepy doctor. And cinematically speaking, it's the least realistic of the found footage aesthetic. It's like the depth of field for a VHS camcorder from '94 looks awfully like 4K. Wow, that quality. It's very sharp. There's no desaturation. I mean, if anything, it's oversaturated. So you're already within minutes like, okay, this is not hitting me the same as the other two. Here's the summation of this movie. I don't know if it's supposed to be found footage of a VHS tape or found footage of a video game. You have one interesting character, the doctor. He's just a madman. Pretty cartoonish, to be honest. Entertaining enough, but not enough to keep you invested or going. Then suddenly, another SWAT team breaks in. And we have these captured people in the doctor's lair that suddenly we are supposed to have their point of view. And I gotta say, anytime police make their appearance in this movie, it's awful. They ruin this third story. All their characterizations are flat and stereotypical, stock, good guy, badass police characters. And they see and witness what this doctor has created and decide to put these things, these human robot hybrids, out of their misery. That's when our story goes crazy. It just becomes an action-adventure video game. It even looks like it. Like the whole tone and aesthetic kind of change. Everything suddenly becomes rendered looking, too shiny, too perfect. I don't know if this is true or not, but I swear to God, the last half of this movie is completely rendered in like Unreal or something. It just looks like a video game and feels like a video game. You have boss battles, for God's sake. It's really, really stupid. So it's an off-putting story, and it's very long. It drags out, unfortunately. So this one was a dud. If you think I'm gonna forget to mention dear friend of the channel and all-around amazing human being, Steven Kostanski's surprise slap chop inspired segment, You're Crazy. Yes, we love Steven here. He directed two of my favorite movies, Psycho Goreman and The Void, and he is nothing but a gentleman. He also happens to not only be a creative writer and director, but a special effects master. And so, yeah, his little segment in this is incredible. It's Kostansky as fuck. I'm gonna start using that to describe more things for sure. And, yeah. Oh, by the way, he's got a new show out where he is doing the special effects, Day of the Dead. It's on Sci-Fi, so I hope that's going well. I gotta check it out. Keep it coming, Steven. And then we get to our final segment, which is not as high on the bar as the first two, but it is the segment that closes us out, and it is very well done. Again, they cover the bases of common sense. We are privy to a white nationalist militia movement deep in the forest of what I'm assuming is Michigan. Yes, this is essentially a tale about the Michigan militia and the lengths they'll go to harness and maybe protect us from a very powerful substance.
Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone.
This is a interesting one, for sure. Like I said, it's not as good as the first two, but it is fantastic. The consistency in these, despite the robot world one, is pretty damn high. And this one doesn't disappoint either. It is, again, you feel like you're not supposed to be watching it, and it does truly feel found. There are moments between the ensemble that kind of give away the magic trick.
Thanks for the puddle, Steve.
But it is nonetheless super engaging. I believe every morning they murder what appears to be the same man in cold, calculated
Good job.
efficiency. It's scary and graphic, and it feels like homegrown terrorism. Besides the inconsistent acting, everything feels real in this one. And it's kind of like too real in a sense because it's about the Michigan militia, and I now live back in my hometown in Michigan. And there are men like this. It's kind of caricature-ish, but they're pretty damn close. And you meet people like this around these parts.
To defend our way of life. We will take it back.
Not many, few and far between. But sometimes you meet somebody and you go, yeah, what do you do on the weekends? So it's a timely, maybe the most culturally relevant, definitely the most culturally relevant piece of this anthology. And it's an interesting story involving these characters because they're clearly villains, but there's this, I guess it's a MacGuffin, that kind of makes them feel like gray area. They're doing horrible things, they're preaching horrible things. It is a nightmare to watch, and it does have that air of authenticity. But then this substance gets thrown in the mix, and as you find out what this substance does, the stakes are raised, and suddenly these guys kind of become quasi-protectors almost. You start to understand a little bit why, especially the leader, is the way he is.
Nothing can be left to chance. We are stepping onto the world stage here. God in his infinite wisdom has given us a boon for the ages.
Which is an interesting take on homegrown terrorism and the horror that can be. It feels like a part of a Netflix documentary this footage they've found. Ta-da! This one is a surprising one, and I won't give anything away. But again, it just adds to the dish. It adds to the meal of this really well-made anthology series. But I'll tell you this much. You should watch this just for the first 2 stories alone. These 2 creatives at the helms of these small stories save this movie, and they're worth a watch, and they're fucking freaky, and they're great. It's just fun. It's just fun horror Halloween kind of stuff. Check it out. Let me know what you think. That's our movie. That's our episode. Thanks again, guys. You're wonderful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're over halfway through. Oh boy. We're going strong. We got more coming down the pipe. So make sure to subscribe, like the episode, share the episode. And if you want to watch VHS 94, it's on Shudder. Make sure to check it out. Love me some Shudder. So have a good one. Stay spooky.